Alright, y'all. It's Cameron. What's up? So I'm just gonna go over a game real quick. I had offered to help with studying anything that Puzzle Blogger here um, had needed to study, or I felt he needed to study. He or she, I'm not sure. We played this game that got ugly very quickly. Just gonna get to the point where it was pretty much decided. Pretty much right about here we can say white's gonna be down on material. Because I'm taking a knight. Looks like a pretty good trade for white. He has two pieces focused on the square, I just have one. However, this leaves white open for this move here, which pins the queen to the king. We could say this was the winning move of the game. However, really more than anything, what I wanted to go ahead and just make this video for is to kind of come back here and just talk about the 4 principles that I focus on in chess. I have a video of this. And one of those principles is to control the center, so white does this very well early on. 2 of the other principles are to develop as early as possible, as well as to watch your pawn structure. In white's first 5 moves, which are all pawn moves, white fails to work on this principle, or to use this principle. This is, I would consider this a weak pawn structure. This pawn is, guarded only by this queen, which isn't exactly the strongest way to defend a pawn. Usually it wants to defend with a knight or a bishop for a lower value trade offer. But, I mean, really more than anything, these pawns are just way too far out. There aren't any pieces that are really protecting them, and this would be the weakest part of white's position here. Again, this is the 5th move. So another principle that I always focus on in chess is to castle early. White could have done this here. That could have been his next move, but castling doesn't really look that good here, I don't think. White castles, and there's just all this space that black can use to go ahead and attack white there. So, something to keep in mind when you're doing all the pawn pushing at the beginning. You do want to be able to castle early. Matter of fact, the attack that won the game for me was set up from having castled my king. As we can see here, the rook is ready to attack the king that has not castled. So those would be some of the things that I'm taking from this game. The way this developed. Puzzle Blogger is a fantastic player, very, very strong. After having made that mistake, it was not an easy win for me. It took some work. But here I was able to set up a fairly good looking sequence where I'm essentially forcing whites to attempt this pin back on my queen to my king. This was a great move. Kudos to Puzzle Blogger for finding this. But in this phase of the game, it's too late to really take the game back, because white will just be so far down on material that it's just really hard to come back, especially with this skewer. of one bishop to the other, so white will lose a bishop here. So a certain win for black at this point. I guess we could have said that it was certain back here when white lost his queen, but again, it took me some work to get this win out of white in this case. So just some things to consider. Of course, I don't know everything about chess, but I recommend watching my other video about the 4 principles that I focus on for some pretty strong chess. Other than that, I will end the video here. Thanks for watching.